Hello, I'm Margaret Graziano with Keen Alignment, where we empower people committed to shaping organizations that work. Shakespeare was quoted saying, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." What he meant was that we believe what we think. Our thoughts determine our version of reality. Imagine how much our personal thoughts influence our experience at work, and how a series of employees' personal thoughts impact our organizational culture overall. As we've spoke about in the last training, each human being is consumed with personal thoughts that keep running and running throughout the day. Between our cell phones, computers, TV, radio, social media, all the different apps we have, each of us receives approximately 10,000 micro messages a day. On top of that, as we learned yesterday, each human being has anywhere between 12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. To add fuel to the fire, 85% of these thoughts are negative and repetitive. The neural pathways in our brain continue to deliver the same thought in different renditions over and over again. And then we wonder how workplace culture devolves and turns into something that's unworkable and destructive. When we consider, in the absence of a bigger picture and a vision for work, most human beings spend most of their time listening to their own thoughts. These thoughts consume them and remove them from being present with what their purpose is at work. It's not actually hard to grasp that a collective consumed by their personal thought, especially negative personal thought, naturally erodes a culture, and it turns a culture into a place where extraordinary simply is not the norm. Here's how it happens. When communication and seeking understanding is not a fundamental way of operating, where communication is not a priority and therefore not given the attention it deserves, where people are not trained to question their assumptions or clear upsets or be curious with one another, communication doesn't happen. In the case of day-to-day frustrations, setbacks, challenges, and upsets, the employee untrained in how the mind works spends very little time gaining clarity on their current thinking, and they're quite often left up to their own version of their thoughts and their own version of reality. Culture devolves when the main form of communication in an organization is gossip, and personal thinking is passed off as factual evidence or factual reality. In these cases, most folks unintentionally share their version of reality and invite agreement and collusion from others. The problem is neither the sharer or the shared to sees this kind of communication as destructive to themselves and to the organization. Gossip as an organizational mode of communication is a killer of engagement, innovation, and synchronicity. And in the lack of a communication strategy, gossip is what often is the communication strategy. So how do you interrupt all that? It's about creating a compelling mission and vision and having a leader who continually is communicating that mission and vision so that they're interrupting the noise and reminding people of the big picture and how they contribute to the big picture. People need to see how important they are to the organization, and they need to feel like they're part of moving the organization forward in the right direction to fulfill on that mission and vision. So let's look at how a mission and vision interrupt dysfunction and create a compelling reason for people to be. When I feel I am connected to the big picture, I want to do what I need to move it forward. When I don't have a big picture, let's say there's an organization of 100 people and 100 people having 10 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and things don't go well, and they're upset with their boss or their coworker or the customer. There's nothing to get them back on track. The mountain of thought is huge, and the only way to interrupt that and get people back on track is to tap them on the shoulder and remind them the reason for being there and the reason we're all here. We need to create a positive and motivating culture if we want to raise employee performance and employee engagement. And to do that, we need a mission and a vision that creates a difference in the world, that compels people to bring their all to work. It has to be compelling enough to shift those negative thought patterns. The purpose of the enterprise and of the individuals has to be strong enough to evoke the shift from fear and frustration to courage and engagement. We need the ability to wake people up to their highest self and the reason for coming to work every day. Every 21st century leader needs to have an arrow in their quiver to get people back on track and engage them into the big picture. Workplace culture has everything to do with interrupting that personal thinking and getting the collective to have a conscious commitment to the big picture. Yes, it is important to check in with people and to find out where they're at, but it's more important to point them in the right direction. As people committed to shaping a positive, best place to work culture, we need to ask ourselves, are we creating a high-performance, engaged workplace culture? Is our reason for being an enterprise got purpose? And is it enrolling? And can people hitch their cart to our wagon? Do our core values compel people to behave in a constructive manner? With all the challenges facing every employee at work, and all of us, are we doing everything we can to give people a reason for being and staying in the game, and to not fall prey to their personal negative reaction when things don't go the way they intended? To learn more about how Keen Alignment can support you in your transformation, I welcome you to give us a call and schedule a consult with one of our executive culture consultants. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to our session tomorrow as part of our 21-day cultural transformation journey. Remember, your attitude about corporate culture determines your altitude with workplace engagement and organizational performance. I'm wishing you the very best of success, and I'll see you tomorrow.